We're about to get a crash course in one of the joint-breaking jiu-jitsu moves that has become a cornerstone of McMap.
Once he ends up with that leg, he's gonna finish this technique. Finish out.
This one looks familiar to me from my MMA training.
How you guys doing?
Good.
Good.
Looks like you guys are doing a rolling knee bar fight.
We are doing a rolling knee bar, and basically we would use this combatively. We could either use it lethal or non-lethal. All right, what we're doing right now is like more non-lethal NATO operation, controlling our technique. If we were to do this combatively, we would actually break the leg.
50 years ago, every move a Marine learned was designed to kill. But on tours of duty today, a Marine might have to do anything from crowd control to keeping an enemy alive for questioning. So every McMap move must be adaptable to different environments and different needs.
So the enemy comes up behind you and surprises you. So after the first initial surprise, your instinct is to do what?
Strike to the face. Strike to the face, bend down to grab the closest leg to me, lock it in, and roll into my right shoulder. Okay? Arching forward and throw my back back. So he taps. Now, of course, I'm going nice and slow. You know, like I said, we're gonna grab this and I'm gonna pull the leg off. I'm gonna break the leg.
Can that really snap a leg off?
Yes, it can.
Wow.
Yes. So, just imagine, I got this, it's probably, ooh, it's hurting right there. Just, boom, lock it off, come up, stomp, transition, you know, whatever you need to do, weapon system, finish your opponent.
The rolling knee bar is used when an opponent attacks you from behind. First, the Marine delivers 2 elbow strikes to the opponent's head. These aren't designed to finish him off, just stun and disorient him. The Marine then drops his weight, breaking the enemy's balance. The soldier then rolls forward, grabs his enemy's knee, and from the ground, he forces it back, locking out the knee joint.
Grab rope. Okay, lock it in. Hips nice and low. Wait a minute, see this gap right here? Slide down. Lean back, arch your hips. Boom, that's it. That's it, good job.
But the real damage from the knee bar doesn't come from gravity. It comes from leverage. Once the knee is locked, your hips act like a fulcrum, and his leg acts like a lever, multiplying any force you apply. So even though the ligaments and tendons around the knee can sustain 1,700 newtons of force, the knee bar can load a lot more than that, enough to completely destroy the joint.
But in combat, you have to finish your opponent off as soon as possible. He may be injured, but Marines are taught to always assume an opponent is still armed. The rule is, once you start on him, you stay on him.
Once you engage a suspect, he's yours. I have to deal with you until I kill you, or I cuff and stuff you and have you in the back for the trailers. Good.
To get a feel for what the move might be like during combat, we geared up with flak jackets and Kevlar helmets.
Good. Good. Good job. A lot tighter.
Better?
Yep, a lot better.
Tell you what, having this gear on not only makes it heavier and harder, but your balance is taking off kilter. The weight's bringing you forward, and you've got to look around different obstacles, and you have to be able to see it and go after it. That comes through repetition. Speaking of, let's do this one more time.
Good job.
Thank you.
For a technique to be included in the McMap program, it's got to adapt to any situation. From the caves of Afghanistan to the ghettos of Baghdad. Classes go on across the base every day, teaching the 182 different moves of McMap.
Get on the ground right now!
One of the most effective is a takedown, known here as the reap.
His position is going to allow me to move forward and break his center of gravity, so we're still following basic principles of entry, off balance, and a throw. I'll just execute an outside reap and break him down.
The reap was first adapted by Marines in China, who trained with the Shanghai police before World War II. Famous for opium smuggling and organized crime during the 1920s and 30s, the Chinese port was one of the most dangerous cities in the world. The local police kept order with a variety of kung fu techniques. Soon, the Marines stationed there began using the techniques, first to keep the streets around the American embassy safe, but ultimately against the Japanese who invaded in 1937. Even though the Reap seems like a simple move, it can easily put a bad guy in a world of hurt.
Boom, and look where your knee's at. Your knee and shin is groin up through the center line of his body. So if he pulls you down, he's increasing damage to himself. Max effect, minimal effort.
To execute the Reap, the foot pressure must be applied while the opponent is still stepping.
As he's stepping forward, I'm going to try and sweep the foot in at the same time off balancing by pulling and pushing across, breaking the center of gravity, taking him down to the ground.
The key to the Reap is to get your opponent's center of mass outside his stability zone. To do that, the Marine pushes his opponent at a location above the center of mass, while using his sweeping leg to create a tripping point, which is below his opponent's center of mass. Once the loss of stability has occurred, gravity does the work and the damage. On the ground and on his back, your opponent is now vulnerable to any number of finishing strikes.
With so many McMap moves borrowed from other disciplines, I wondered how a professional mixed martial artist would stand up against the Marines.
You know, if we go into the ring with Randy Couture, good chance he's going to kick my butt. He comes out to my world, there's an even better chance that I'll kill him.
We were about to see just what he meant at a training facility so intense it has never been shown on television before.
Ready? Let's go, get in the room, let's go!
Officially, it's called the Leadership Room because it tests your fighting skills under incredible pressure. Unofficially, it's called the House of Pain, and it's designed for one thing: to prepare Marines for the physical and mental punishment of combat.
Pick up the weights! Exercise!
It's like circuit training on steroids. We're some of the first non-Marines ever to experience this training firsthand. The room is deliberately kept brutally hot, over 100 degrees.
Let's go!
Instructors are yelling at you left and right. And you have to constantly be pumping weight, waiting for your turn to fight.
Soon, it was my turn.
Somebody get my left leg! Somebody get my left leg!
In the fight pit, I thought I had a handle on these moves. Now I'm not so sure. My arms were spent from lifting the weights. It was all I could do to block the onslaught of punches and kicks. When the whistle blew, there was no rest. Back to pumping iron.
That's exhausting.
Then, it was my turn. I might have outweighed this Marine, but throughout Jason's fight, I'd been lifting dumbbells.
Hands up!
I didn't have the energy left to return the high-power kicks I was taking. So I used the Muay Thai knee strikes I'd learned in Thailand. A great way to maximize force when your strength is starting to go.
Mental conditioning comes into so much here because all those guys in there sweating, it's already 100% humidity, and you're in there for half an hour, rotating positions. There's no breaking, there's no I'm tired, it's not hang on 1 second, my ankle hurts.
You got everyone yelling at you at the same time. Get it done, get it done. This is true military combat.
And it was just the beginning. Next, we would learn a lethal move first used by Marines in the jungle warfare of World War II. And we'd be forced to perfect it in the toughest conditions imaginable. As America's primary rapid deployment force, Marines must be ready for any type of combat anywhere in the world within 24 hours of receiving the order. Since 1947, they're the only U.S. armed force to get their orders direct from the president. All other forces have to wait for their orders to be approved by Congress.
Marines are also in charge of the presidential helicopter, Marine 1. Since 1957, Marines have been responsible for the personal safety of the most powerful man in the world anytime he's aboard his helicopter.
We are the primary security force for all presidential assets associated with HMX-1.
Every Marine who serves on Marine 1 is fully trained in MCMAP techniques, and they're the most vital tool a Marine has for this assignment. If an attempt is made on the president's life, you don't want more bullets flying through the air. Instead, Marines need to rely on something silent, focused, but just as deadly: the rear naked choke.
You see this move a lot in MMA fights, but the Marines didn't get it from the ring. They got it from the Chinese. Marines have been using this choke since 1942, when the commando unit known as the Marine Raiders was formed. The Raiders were created to conduct irregular warfare against the Japanese in the jungles of Southeast Asia. One of its first leaders, Major Evans Carlson, incorporated some of the moves he'd learned from the Chinese 8th Route Army into Raider training.
One of the most effective was the rear naked choke, which was perfect for taking out an enemy in complete silence.
Gonna come up, make them tilt their head up, make sure that the chin and the elbow are aligned.